Ah, the unmistakable sound of the mid 2000s, back when the music was great. I don't know, maybe all of you guys don't share that same perspective, but man, oh man, was I living it up music wise during those days. So, boy, was I surprised when I found out there was a actually fairly large, I guess, well known rock star of this era that was kind of the face of evil of sorts. You just saw him, Ian Watkins. He is the subject of today's show. That's what we will be digging into: the rise, the fall, and the well-deserved death of Ian Watkins. I think you guys will see what I mean as we go throughout this, but man, this is a wild story. If you're just getting into this channel, please leave a like, share, subscribe, comment. Definitely subscribe. I'm trying on a new format also, so leave a comment. Let me know what you think about it. Going for a little bit shorter episodes, maybe a little more cursory type of information, not as much of a deep dive. These occasional topics that I have that I want to spurg on, but not quite to the extent of my normal topics where I will do a full-on 5-part series or interview an expert on the topic. No, this is just me scraping together some cursory content on a specific topic, and we will go through it together. So bear that in mind. That's the level of research you are getting. So go dig into it on your own. That's actually sort of the purpose of this sort of episode, is I'm actually letting you guys know I find this interesting. I want you guys to know about it because I think you'll find it interesting as well. And I also think there's probably it's probably ripe. It is probably ripe for research, and so I want to pass that on to you guys. And if you guys do find something interesting in here, pass it on to me. I'll be happy to have you on the show, talk about such things, or share it to my audience in some way, shape, or form. But that's enough hemming and hawing. Let's go ahead and get into it. We'll start off with just do want to give you guys a content warning, kind of this is, I mean, I guess if you don't know who Ian Watkins is, it is fair that you could accidentally stumble into some nightmarish content, which is what we will be going through today. Obviously, no videos, no pictures, obviously nothing that would get me taken off of YouTube, but we will be processing some very dark information today. So, fair warning. And then also, I will just a little bit of warning. I tend to not care on this channel. I tend to say the words that, YouTube will ding you for. I'll try a little bit today not to use words like CSAM instead of, the other words, or I don't know, some of the lingos, and also partially because, as I said, some of the stuff we will be talking about today, I honestly just kind of just don't even want to say it, some of the stuff. And so there may be times where I read it like a, and they, and then they, because I just don't want to say those sort of dark things. And you guys can probably fill in the blanks for a lot of this stuff and go find out on your own. But warning, I may or may not. We'll see how I'm feeling as we process this in the moment. But just a warning, just warning for those things. I will probably be somewhat censoring my language, despite the fact not typically doing so. Partially for algo purposes, but partially for me, because I've dug into this sort of content before, and I don't know, some of the stuff you just don't even want to say. You just kind of really want to skim over and pretend you didn't that wasn't a thing. But Ian Watkins, you've been warned. We're getting into some dark stuff. Now, as I said, he was kind of a mid 2000s, phenom music wise. So let's kind of start off with what the rise of Ian Watkins. Now, he came to prominence as the lead singer of Lostprophets, which was a Welsh rock band. He co-founded it in '97 in Pontypridd. It started as a local act, which was new metal, alternative rock, and post-hardcore elements. You guys saw that. We were listening to a minute ago, that upbeat mid-2000s feel, very unmistakable. One second, let me get you a nice little visual aid here, real quick. Sorry, I thought I had that up. I did not. So the band gained tractions with their first album, The Fake Sound of Progress, is about 2000. And that's kind of what really pushed them into the UK music scene. One of the significant things that people always bring up when covering it is that they are one of the few bands during this period of time to kind of break into the US market. Doing so, they did that with the Start Something album. This was in 2004. The single Last Train Home was the one doing that. Got all sorts of records over in Britain at that period of time. By the mid-2000s, they'd sold millions of albums, toured extensively with major acts, and solidified their status as a staple in the alternative rock genre. They continued to build their success with albums like Liberation Transmission, and he kind of made an image of himself as kind of being this flamboyant, energetic, very much like Taking Back Sunday type vibes. You guys saw if you watch the thing, you get the vibe. It was kind of what they were all going for at that time. He often engaged directly with fans with social media, through social media and live performances. Around this time is where a lot of the rumors of heavy drug use started coming in, and this is what really started straining the band relationships. His relationship with the other band members. There also is when rumors started spiraling about his interactions with young female fans, of which we will get into later. These were dismissed as kind of generic rock star sort of stuff during his at that time. Now, as I said, before he inevitably gets arrested, he had an ex-girlfriend that was reported him for possessing CSAM and other stuff. We'll dig more into that in a bit. Other things started to trickle out during this period of time. This is prior to 2012 is when the kind of 2008-2012 period of time we start getting these tricklings of different things, reports from the ex-girlfriend, other such reports, seemingly not being followed up on is a common reoccurrence in this case. Is a handful of times it seems there were reports that nothing seemed to happen, which does obviously raise some eyebrows, makes you wonder what is going on here. Now let's get into the fall. As I kind of alluded to, there were all these rumors of his interactions with these young women. You kind of start blurring the lines of the relationship that you would think should have between their fans and themselves, particularly with the age demographic of fans that a band like his seemed to attract. Beneath the fame, he started descending in depravity. The drug use that we mentioned before contributed to all this. By the late 2000s, he was in a secret online world where he groomed young women, particularly mostly super fans in their early 20s, and trying to find ways to exploit his pedophile fantasies through them. Use platforms like social media and chat apps. He expressed desires to cross the line, in quotes, with children, including plans to rape infants and blow crystal meth into a baby's face to subdue them. I'm sorry, I should have said our infants. These communications later uncovered investigations revealed his manipulation of at least 2 mothers, whom he convinced to participate in the abuse of their own toddlers, exchanging graphic videos and instructions. Prosecutors will later describe this as a corrupting influence amplified by a celebrity, where Watkins viewed his status as a license for exploitation, amassing a trove of over 100 images of children and extreme pictures of sorts. Early warning signs were ignored, like we mentioned before. He had a girlfriend in 2007 who was a makeup artist, Joanne Majedzelix, quite the name, reported his confessions to her to a South Wales police after receiving a text message that showed his wish list to a 12-year-old, and also do the same to underage twins. He even gave his phone for examination to her, or she provided her phone for them to look at, to show the things that he had shared with her. There were other Crime Stopper tips in 2010, and then witness reports in 2012 that corroborated these. Yet there, either were very little investigations, or it says here they stalled. So whatever that means. Partly due to his fame, it seemed to, the recurring theme I saw throughout this, through my digs, was this kind of over and over again that seemed to be, oh, they just thought these were women out to get him, looking, trying to make a dime off of him. To be fair, I believe the Joanna Majazelix had a past of sex work. So although that is, once again, when you're digging in these, when you're wading in these nasty pools, a lot of these victims aren't always as clean as a whistle as you would like them to be. And so when time comes to, report the horrors that have occurred, sometimes the very fact that they are in proximity to such horrors sometimes prevents them from being taken seriously for those things to have actually occurred in the first place. Unfortunately, although it also makes you wonder what the hell's going on here. This was a huge band making millions of dollars, hobnobbing with the biggest of people. There were all sorts of reports during these times of claims of essentially trying to, or him essentially, he was going to pimp out some of these kids to other people, claims of that. So, like I said, as I mentioned before, wide open for research. I recommend people go digging into this, maybe looking into this with our eyes now, given the current paradigms that have been broken through or changed, I guess, you might look at this with new eyes in light of all these things. Now, in June 2012, Watkins was arrested in LA International Airport for attempting to smuggle cocaine and meth into film cancers, charge which he pled guilty to and received bail. And back in the UK, on November 4th, 2012, he faced another arrest for possessing drugs in a single image of a child, this time also getting bail and denying the allegations. The incidents coincided with Lostprophets promoting their fifth album, which released in May 2012, but things were falling apart during that time with the band. The tipping point came on December 17th during a police raid on his Pontypridd home under a drug warrant, where officers seized computers, phones, and hard drives, revealing a vast cache of CSAM, including videos of Watkins assaulting a 10-month-old and conspiring with the two moms to R their babies. On December 19th, 2012, Watkins was also was charged with 13 counts, including conspiracy to R a 1-year-old girl, multiple SA on children under 13, possession and distribution of over 282 indecent images, spanning categories A through C, and holding extreme animal pictures. Remanded in custody at HM Prison Park, he vehemently denied all charges via video link on December 31st, 2012, and again on June 3rd, 2013, insisting that the evidence was fabricated. Called this a media circus. It drew international horror as the information leaked. This got Interpol involved, also U.S. Homeland Security, all due to the fact that this guy is an international jet setter. He was internationally touring during his time, one thing to keep in mind. On October 1st, 2013, just weeks before the trial, Lostprophets disbanded, and the surviving members expressed disgust, essentially, severing all ties. I do want to take a moment to comment on that. I everything I've seen from my little digs here and there is they claim they know nothing. They did cannot maintain, I guess, a professional relationship is their implication. Their real issues started when the drug problems started. Although many people have pointed out, and I did find it interesting. As we mentioned earlier, there was his ex-girlfriend who busted him. If you listen to her story, the degree to which he was brazen about this sort of stuff was kind of ridiculous, and so it kind of makes you wonder, makes you draw some questions about that. But I don't know, it's also believable. I have no idea, to what degree these people know anything, but it's I don't know, a little odd. Now the trial commenced on November 25th, 2013. Watkins and the two unnamed female co-defendants faced over 20 charges. This is shielded from public view due to the graphic content, of course. But the jurors were pre-warned and offered counseling. Man, I would not want to be a jury on that trial. Prosecutors portrayed Watkins as a determined and committed pedophile. who weaponizes fame, drugs, and coercion to orchestrate acts beyond imagination, presenting encrypted files, and a 17-minute hotel room video of him abusing a child. By the way, what's always brought up in this is one of his passwords for his one of his different devices was IFUKKIDZ. So you guys can spell. Pretty nuts. Kind of a little bit of a confession, if you will. He pled guilty to, on November 26, 2013, he pled guilty to 11 of 13 of the counts, admitting attempted rape. Sorry, I wasn't supposed to say that word. 3 child essays, 6 indecent image offenses, and extreme PORN possession, while the R charge was accepted as attempted. The women also pled guilty to related abuses as the court grappled with a profound betrayal of trust and the new depths of depravity exposed, which I'm sure if someone wanted to get into the weeds of those trials with the mother and the mother's stuff, yes, that is kind of a whole other train of thought of, wow, what an insane thing for a mother to do to her child. Just absolutely disgusting. Now, on December 18th, at the Cardiff Crown Court, the Justice Royce, sentenced Ian Watkins to 35 years in prison, 29 years in custody, followed by 6 years on extended license, reflecting the unparalleled depravity of his crimes. The judge highlighted Watkins' calculated use of celebrity to groom and corrupt 2 moms into facilitating the abuse of their infants, describing the offenses, including attempted R of a baby and the creation of CSAM. The sentence was structured to ensure Watkins, then 36, would be at least 65 before any parole consideration, which is something to keep in mind. This guy would have been applicable for parole. The verdict triggered immediate institution fallout. The Lostprophets catalog was pulled from streaming services, merchandise vanished from stores, and the band's legacy was forever tainted. Watkins was ordered to pay $100,000 in pounds or whatever that is, the British money is, in prosecution costs, and face a lifelong sexual harm protection order. A concurrent police investigation to potential additional victims across the UK and abroad was launched, while the Independent Police Complaints Commission confirmed probes into earlier investigative failures. The case became a watershed moment in addressing celebrity-enabled child exploitation, prompting reforms in how authorities handle high-profile abuse allegations. And now, actually, I did want to take a moment to kind of show you some of these court transcripts. I know these are awful. You guys can speed through this if you don't want, but I just kind of show you an example of what I'm talking about here. So here, I mean, you guys can look at it. What's the background here from the court date? Count 18 dates back to March 2007. You met TT after a Lostprophets concert when she met a 16-year-old V virgin. The prospect of taking her, excited you. You got to dress her in a schoolgirl's outfit, and you videoed her, and you having You asked her whether she enjoyed being her Yeah, I don't really feel like saying that. At the end, you over her face and told her to drink it. Gross. That gives some insights into your attitude to young females at that time over 5 years before the counts relating to B and P. Count 19, it dates back to August 2008. The girl KJ was another fan aged 16. You videoed her having with you. She is seen to be snorting white powder, which you told her was cocaine. The taking of drugs linked with your sexual activities is a recurring theme. Count 31 relates to about 90 indecent photos of children. They include 45 at the level 4 and at level 4 and 2 at level 5. The age range of children is from 2 to 14 years. Count 32 involves images and videos of extreme PORN. There are 22 images of bestiality, including with dogs. Gross. So just an idea of what we're talking about. Pure horror fuel. I would not recommend looking through these, I guess, unless you want to research like I did proffer to some. But if you, I don't know, I would not just peruse these for fun unless you would like nightmares. But this story does have something resembling a happy ending, I guess one could say. He did meet his maker, one could say. Ian Watkins came to a fateful end, and I'll kind of give you a little bit of a summation of this. Following his conviction and sentencing to 29 years, plus an additional 6 years, Watkins was transferred to high security facilities where his notoriety made him a target, as it does when you're a pedophile in prison. Dubbed the Monster Mansion for housing Britain's most reviled offenders, Wakefield became his primary residence by early 2018. After stints at other prisons like HMP Garth, there Watkins navigated a brutal hierarchy where offenders occupied the lowest rung, which is what they do in prison, as well they should, often facing isolation or violence to survive. He later counted in disciplinary hearings the constant dread of reprisals from murderers, rapists, and serial killers. He knew things weren't going well for him. So now his life there didn't sound to be too great. Although, I don't know, it's a mixed bag. There are stories of him getting into hijinks in prison during this period of time. In March 2018, authorities discovered a mobile phone and charger hidden in his cell, which he claimed was forced upon him by 2 inmates intent on exploiting fan mail from unwitting Lostprophets admirers as a revenue stream. Refusing to name his coercers out of fear for his safety, he avoided harsher penalties, but revealed the twisted opportunism that persisted even behind bars. He dismissed the scandal in other calls, joking to a friend that the charges were mega lols, which is, I guess he even has a shirt that said mega lols. I think that was part of his, his brand, I guess you could say, is mega lols. But he referred to these. There were stories written up of him referring to this. It gets brought up frequently, referring to this whole situation as just a big old LOL, kind of showing flippancy about the whole situation. And it seems like he was kind of reveling in his fan mail and such while he was behind bars making money, as we alluded to with the revenue stream that was getting exploited. So now I guess you could take the perspective that he was living in hell, being terrorized by these people, but maybe, just maybe, it went a little bit both ways. I hope it was hell. But by 2023, the violence was getting a little bit out of hand, and it erupted into his first attack. September 19th, 3 inmates took him hostage in his cell, holding him for 6 hours before prison officers were able to free him. During this, Watkins was stabbed multiple times, sustaining non-life-threatening injuries to his torso and arms. He ended up having to get hospitalized. Didn't require any sort of long-term or anything. It was okay. The attackers were never publicly detailed, but it was widely speculated to stem from, the whole diddle and the kids stuff, which, that's what everyone assumed. Watkins was obviously shaken, and he said this incident only reinforced his status as a lightning rod for inmate rage. The inevitable ended up happening. There was an enhanced monitoring for a period of time to try to prevent him for further such attacks, but luckily for the purposes of this story, that didn't seem to work. According to they attributed the inevitable act that we're referring to as being due to overcrowding, understaffing, essentially causing your security to get a little lax. And then on October 11th, 2025, over at his HMP Wakefield, the prison staff responded to an emergency call at 9:39, reporting from a severe assault in the communal area. Watkins, who was at 48 at this point in time, he was attacked with a shiv, a makeshift knife, by at least 2 inmates, and so to his neck and chest. These were fatal. He died at the scene despite the efforts of the emergency responders. Just in and out, stab, 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 it seems. Eyewitness accounts from guards describe a frantic scene where Watkins collapsed in pool of blood. Final moments, desperate gasp, kind of, I'm assuming the whole gurgling. So Doesn't sound like it was too quick. The swiftness, kind of implied premeditation, which, yeah, probably. Now they ended up launching a murder investigation because he was murdered. I guess somebody has to give these guys a pat on the back. Arresting two men, 25-year-old Rashid Gedel, who was serving life for a 27-year minimum for mistaken identity killing, and then 43-year-old Samuel Dodsworth, who was imprisoned for 24 years on abduction and rape charges and on suspicion of murder. Both of them already in the prison were remanded to custody and appeared at Leeds Magistrate Court on October 13th, where they went to the forensic evidence and linked them to the stabbing. I think they're probably still waiting. We're probably still waiting for more information from that. But frankly, let's be real. I mean, is anyone really too concerned that these people receive any sort of justice, whatever that may be for this, if it's not a pat on the back? I know I'm not too concerned. But it is interesting to see this sort of story end in the way that it does. I mean, there's obviously interesting questions to be had about this sort of end. Is prison justice and the like. I mean, you guys tell me, what do you guys think about this story? Ian Miles Watkins, what do you guys think of this format? Kind of maybe in the more like 20 to 45 minute range, kind of a shorter little breakdown. Kind of going into the, trying to keep it somewhat tight. Hopefully these will get a little better. I'm still trying to do these in one take. Let me know what you guys think. That's the life, the rise, the fall, and the deserving death of Ian Watkins. Now, I am actually very much interested in hearing from you guys. Getting some feedback because, like I said, apparently this was really big, and this was just one that somehow flew by me, and. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. If you guys want to support this show, leave a like, share, subscribe, comment, leave a 5-star review on iTunes or Spotify. You can follow me on Twitter at TowerGangJose. The show is on YouTube, Rumble, all the major audio podcatchers, and it also goes out on X. And if you want to support this show in the best way you can do that with money over at patreon.com/nowayjose2020. If you're watching this on video, you can see right here, there's a QR code in your top left-hand corner where you can go over to Patreon, or you can just go to patreon.com/nowayjose2020. That's where you can support the show. The low level of $2 gives you access to a whole host of perks. You could usually get about 1 to 2 episodes per week of the paywalled episodes I do. I usually keep about 4 behind the paywall at any given time, so that's weeks of paywalled content. You also get access to the ad-free RSS feed. You also get access to the Telegram, and you get access to pre-show, post-show, and the video calls of me and Austin's weekly live call-in show, Already Dead. That goes on Tuesdays at 9:30 a.m. or 9:30 p.m. Eastern. And the highest levels of my sponsors, and give them a big shout-out every episode as a big thank you for everything they do. And my previous co-host on Tower Gang, at Tower Gang Toad. Also have, or at Learn to Toad, my bad. At Abrogate D's, at ZLVRCK, at _Invizeal, Tim Tuttle, at John Leon Klebold, Will Bell, Delicious Blueberry Rabbit I Wine. Big fan of the show, Torn May, at Wayne Taculus. 1-800-CARS for Kids, and Mark Vestibule. I appreciate you guys for all your support. I hope you guys enjoyed this. This is my first one in this format. I felt like it was a little bit, a little touch and go, but I think I'll get better at this. Get better at throwing these sort of presentations together. I do have another one. I think I want to a different topic I want to cover, but these little topics that don't merit like a whole full, just kind of a little side tangent. I like it. But you guys tell me what you think. Do all the things, like all that stuff. Love you all. Bye-bye. We're out.